Hoi hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon and good evening wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're not new, then welcome back. We are doing something very exciting today. So a couple of months ago, I picked up these, which are some kind of generic brand acrylic paint pens. I got these from Amazon. They were £12, I think. They were very, very cheap. There are 24 in the pack. And because I don't really have that much experience with paint markers, apart from the few that we've had in Scrawler Box, like these and a few others, I thought it would be really good just to kind of give these a general test and see how they do. Then I picked up a pack of Posca pens, and I thought, why don't we test the generic brand against the big hitter? If you haven't seen Posca pens, they are water-soluble paint in pen form. They're kind of, artists love them. I've never used them, but I'm really, really interested in them. So not only did I pick up these, I also picked up these pastel ones. I picked up the classic set again, but in a smaller nib. I also have a black, white, a silver, and a gold. I might have gone into Hobbycraft when there was a sale and picked up more than I expected to. But I am going to turn the camera around. We're going to properly unbox these, and then I've got some hot press watercolour paper, and we're going to swatch them all out, and then we're going to do a proper side-by-side comparison on an actual piece of artwork. So I'm going to turn the camera around now, and we are going to get stuck into it. Okay, so here we have the generic paint markers, and interestingly, as I said, I bought these from Amazon a couple of months ago. I went back to check my order just this morning, and these are now no longer available, so I don't know what that says about the quality of them. They are a Chinese brand, I believe. There's no real branding on them, just says acrylic painter, paints on anything water-based. Whereas here we have the Posca, and as I said, I might have spent a little bit more than I intended to, but we have the classic colours, and this are the 5M tips, which are kind of a large medium. We have the pastels in the 3M, which is a medium. We have the classics again in 1M, which is a very fine nib. And then I have black, white, silver, and gold. Again, these are in the 3M medium nib. We do have a couple of other Poscas as well that came with Scrawler Box. I've got another white here in the 1M, and I believe we've got a black as well. Let me find that. Yeah, a black in the 3M as well. So these came in Scrawler Box. So actually we've got quite a few here. So I'm going to put these to the side first. We're going to start with these generic brands. So paint markers. Oh, let's tip them all out. That's quite a lot of colours. It's a little instruction book, and we've actually got some little stencils in there as well. I'll keep those. Let's have a look at them. They came with a pack, so why not? Let's have a little check out. I think I saw a reindeer on here. We've got Happy Birthday. We've got Father Christmas, I think, or a hobo with some cats in a sack. We have some ribbons and presents, and we have some reindeer. I quite like the reindeer actually. The reindeer are nice. But okay, so we've got a few little stencils. Put those aside. We also have, what's this? Instructions, non-toxic, eco-friendly, water-based ink, available on stone, metal, paper, porcelain, glass, and that means it draws on those things. It is made of PP material, specifically good for airtight for a longer storage and use. Must be placed horizontally when you don't use it. Okay, so slightly broken English, but the instructions are there. So, if you've never used a paint marker before, it's this. We have a barrel, there should be a ball bearing inside, and then we have a little nib like this. These ones also look like they can be unscrewed and refilled, which I know Poscas can be as well. But I'm a little bit apprehensive. Some of these look very wet, some of these look a little dry. So what I need to do is to shake all of these up, really, really good shake, and then prime them by pressing down the tip onto something. I've just got a scrap piece of paper here. Let's just show you what that looks like. It's taking a while, but you can start to see the paint is starting to come down just there. It doesn't matter what paint pens you've got, they all activate in pretty much the same way. Let's try and give this more of a shake. You shake them and then you prime them. Whew. This is taking a while. So we're almost there. This is taking a lot of priming. You can see the paint is coming down. It's very slow and it's not really saturating the nib very well. Keep going. Okay, so I have got 24 of these to prep, so I'm not going to make you watch that. I'm going to get this done and prime all of these, and then we can come back and do a little bit of swatching. Oh my goodness, my arm, that took ages. That was, so to prep these, that took 20 minutes, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but I was doing 4 at a time, holding them together and prepping them all at once, and they take so long for the paint to seep into the nibs. Speaking of which, some of the nibs are damaged as well. They're either split or fraying. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they work. The colours that come out actually are quite nice. A couple of things that I'll probably talk about when we get onto swatching them all. But these now are all done. So I am going to pop these over to one side, and then we're going to take the Poscas and do the same thing. So just to give you an idea, so here's a Posca Paint. It comes in its plastic sleeve and then it's covered in plastic as well. So I took some tips from Casey Golden. Thank you, Casey. That's for the hot press watercolour, but also some tips on using Poscas as well and paint markers in general. So she has 2 videos, one for basic kind of Posca and paint marker use and another for more advanced. One of the basic things to do is just to take your marker and twist it, and then the plastic comes off nice and simple. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing with these as I did with the others. So shake, and you can hear that ball moves much more freer in these. Lovely, I think that's probably enough. And then you can see we've got a nice nib on this. This is probably a little bit larger than these, but not by much. And then we're just going to take a piece of paper. In fact, let me just, there we go, and prep. And these ones, there we go. And I can already see the paint coming down. And it's done. That quick. We're going to do a few more pumps just to make sure it's fully loaded, but that's how quick that is. So I have got, let's see, 28 pens here that need prepping. I need to take them out the plastic as well. I am going to time how long that takes compared to these ones. Okay, so here we have all the generic paint markers. Here we have all of my Poscas, so all primed, bar a couple of duplicates that I had. For instance, I've got a couple of the black and white in the 3M and the 1M. So obviously I didn't want to do those. They're still packaged so that they stay nice and fresh until I do need them. The priming for all of these, which included unwrapping them from their cellophane as well, took 15 minutes. So that was less time than just priming these. And I primed these individually as well, whereas with these ones I was doing 2, 3, 4 at a time to try and get through them. These ones, 1 at a time, unwrapping and priming and shaking, took 15 minutes. So already a massive time saver there. So what I'm going to do now is I've got some hot pressed watercolour paper. Thank you, Casey, again for the tip. And what I'm going to do is go through first and just do a swatch of all of these. Then we'll go through and we'll do a swatch of all the Poscas, and then we'll do a comparison at the end before going on to a final proper side-by-side piece of artwork where we compare one right against the next one. And while that's happening, I thought I'd give you all the opportunity to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, ring that bell so you never miss a video in the future, and let you know that I actually reached out to Posca. I tried to reach out to the company, the brand that made the generic markers as well, but as I said, wasn't able to do that because they've disappeared off Amazon. Their listing is no longer there, not able to purchase these anymore. I'm sure you can from somewhere else, but I was finding it difficult to get in contact with them. However, I did contact Posca UK on Instagram, asked them why Posca have the reputation they do, why they are the go-to paint marker for artists, and they actually gave me a reply. They gave me a very nice reply, so I'm going to read it out for you now. Simply put, Posca is superior when compared to other paint marker brands both in versatility, paint opaqueness and ease of use. They also have a wide colour range including different finishes, in brackets metallic, glitter and fluorescent, but not too much as to confuse. Available in 8 different tips, they're perfect for beginners and veterans of creativity. Mitsubishi Pencil have also created the perfect seals so the pens don't dry out over time and can easily be primed and saturated, ready to go again. The ink is also water-based and rich with pigments, which stands the passage of time and has no odour. They are a go-to tool in all ventures of the creative industry. They reside from urban street, fashion design, graphic design and crafts. And I think that kind of covers it. That is why people choose Posca. That is their reputation. And we are going to put that reputation to the test right now. Okay, right, so here we have our finished swatch, and you can see, well, not sure how clear you can see, but these are the generic ones. They are a little bit patchy on a few of the paints. Some of them are still wet, which I've swatched all these and then swatched all the Poscas. The Poscas are all completely dry now, so dry that I've been able to go over the black with some of the white as well to test those out. These ones up here bled a little bit. There are some differences. So the generic has actually a little bit of a sheen, whereas the Poscas are completely matte, completely flat matte. I think with these I would probably need to go over a couple of times to get the coverage that I want, whereas with the Poscas the coverage is lovely straight out the bat. Be interesting to see this actually in a piece side by side. Some of the colours are pretty comparable, this and this one, this and this, which is handy because these are the kind of colours that I'm actually going to be using in the piece. Another notable thing is we've got 2 brown markers here, so I'll just show you these 2 down here. These have very different caps, and these are the colours that came out of them. Not dissimilar at all. One's slightly grayer than the other. Definitely not the colours that are on the caps. In fact, for most of them, I would say the colour is okay. Whereas with the Poscas, the colour that is on the cap, and also, one thing I like about Posca, the colour's also here on the barrel. Yeah, the colour that's in there is the colour that it goes down. Absolutely perfect match. So really, really like that. Metallics, so we've got 2 metallics in each. So we've got the gold and the silver, and the gold and the silver here is just, it's interestingly, considering the rest are kind of have a bit of a sheen, those are completely matte with hardly any metallic in them at all, if anything, whereas the Poscas really catch the light and reflect a true metallic paint. That's the only reflection at all in any of the Poscas. Okay, so I wanted to give these a bit of a test with something that I could do in nice flat colours, maybe a lineless look, but I might use some of the black to do some lining. But this is what we're going to be doing today, so you might just be able to see that. This is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, my absolute favourite Disney character of all time. It's just a little portrait drawing, and we're going to do this side in the generic and this side in Posca. So we'll do that as a time lapse, and then I'll come back to you at the end with my final thoughts and we can compare properly side by side. Well, I mean, I think the difference is fairly clear, but I'm going to go over some points just in case. So, there is pilling on both sides, but actually for different reasons. So, with the generic paint markers, the paint doesn't flow as nicely, which means you have to be a little bit more heavy-handed, which on paper means it's going to peel. The Posca side, however, is complete opposite. It's because there is a lot of saturation of paint, and that means that it's getting wet and it's pilling when you kind of go over it. I think personally the Posca, with a little bit of practice, the more paint is something that I could learn to work with. Less paint, not so much. Some other notes are the opacity of the Posca compared to the generic. So if I just bring this up a little bit closer, you can actually see some of the pencil line through the paint on this side, particularly down here. This is still a little bit damp as well, whereas the Posca is completely dry. And the Posca side, apart from outside, where you can still see some pencil line, you can't see any pencil lines through the actual paint itself. The opacity is brilliant on these. Also, as soon as Posca is dry, and I mean dry, you can go over it with another paint and it's not going to lift and mix. Not so on the generics. They actually mixed quite a lot. Other benefit of Posca over the generic is, okay, the generic we have got 24 different colours. Posca I've got slightly less colours, even though Posca do a wide range, just because of the amount that I bought. But because I've got a variety of nib sizes with the Posca, I'm able to do different things, be a little bit neater. I'm able to do line width variation in here and around the eyebrow. All of this was done with the same pen, but I've got different effects. Blending, I'm still learning, but I just wanted to do like a little scratch blend here. It works really nicely on this side. This side, again, you can see the pink through the kind of purpley colour. It's not covering its own paint. Similarly with the black as well. So the black on this side gives me quite spotty and patchy, and that's going over it twice. The Posca, that is a single coverage, and it is matte. I mean, this is matte. Here's another thing. I'm not sure if you can see with the light here, but the Posca side is not reflecting light at all. It's completely matte paint, whereas the generic side has a little bit of a sheen on it, but only on certain colours. So some of the colours are not matte and some are, which again is a little bit odd. So what's my final verdict? Well, let's go back to what we were looking at the start. So are the generic paint markers a good option over Posca, or are Posca the better option? Well, I think that really is down to what you want to do with them. If you're just dipping your toes into acrylic paint markers and you just want to get a feel for how they work, then yes, you know, you can get a whole bunch of different colours for not very much money and have a play around with them. However, the outcome that you get from them is not going to be as good as with a known and trusted brand like Posca. Posca pens are the leaders in what they do because of the quality that they have. And you can see from the picture that we've done exactly what I mean with that. Generic, Posca. And the difference speaks for itself. I personally think that I might use these paint markers just for kind of mocking something up, the generic ones. Or I may donate them to a school or give them to one of my nieces or nephews, because for kind of professional use, I don't think these are fit for purpose. The Poscas absolutely are, and I will definitely be investing in some more colours and some more sizes. I think they're incredibly versatile, and I really look forward to kind of using them a little bit more and getting to learn more about them. But those are my views. I'd really like you to hit the comments down below and tell me what you think. Would you pay the extra money for Posca, or would you just try the generic brand to begin with? I've told you what my opinion is, but I'm always happy to hear what you guys say as well. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope you found it informative, and until next time, goodbye.